Okay. So hi, I'm Chaotic Witch Aunt. Welcome back to my channel. As you can tell, I'm in a completely new place. I have a shed behind me. I'm on vacation. There is like water right there, which is why there's so many bugs. And I'm making a video called 8 Things I Wish I Knew When I First Started Practicing Witchcraft. I feel like this is a pretty well-made video. I don't think that it's like out of the ordinary for practitioners and witch talkers or witch tubers to make a video titled this. I don't know if I didn't get this idea from a specific person, but I'm not gonna. Nice. I think that talking about misconceptions that I personally had when starting my craft can help other young practitioners more understand, ow, I'm so itchy, more fully understand about their witchcraft and not have some of the pressure taken off. There's a lot of seagulls, so you may be hearing some seagulls. They are kind of swooping around. I hope I don't get pooped on. Ooh, more than pooped. They're getting closer to the house. Hey, buddies. Okay. Number 1, you don't need to do advanced practices to be a powerful witch. This is a mistake that, I made, and this misconception actually did cause me to try and seek out really advanced practices very early on in my practice. Like a couple years in, or a year in. It was pretty soon that I kind of launched myself into that. And this is I see a lot of witches being like, I want to reach out to a deity, or I want to start deity work, I want to do this, and I want to do that, and don't need to start advanced practices in order to be powerful. I've met witches that have been working on basic practices like cleansing, banishment, protection, working with their energy for a very long period of time, and they're like super powerful and really good at that, and they have a really strong foundation to build upon with more advanced practices. And then I see people who hop to deity work or hop to advanced practices right away without having a really strong foundation, and it's kind of like building a house on unsteady ground. It works, the house stands, but you don't know how long it's going to stand for, and it's probably not as functional as a house built on a really strong foundation. And I think there's this definite pressure that, like, if you see elder or older practitioners doing a bunch of like advanced practices and sharing about it and talking about it, you want to get there, you want to get to that point. But I had to, because I kind of rushed into more advanced practices, I had to go back and revisit a lot of the foundational kind of concepts again and again to get them up to par with my practice. And I usually say that people should do that you should always kind of check in like once a year, every couple of months, and see if your baseline practices still line up with your practice. So number 2 is you don't have to be a Wiccan, and you don't have to be religious at all. Yeah, I kind of thought when I first started, and this is kind of what I've talked about in my past videos, there were a lot of sources on modern day witchcraft, in America at least, that were surrounding, Wicca and paganism. And I am, an eclectic neo-pagan, but I wish I had more access to books that didn't automatically incorporate religion into the craft, so I could have a better understanding of what witchcraft is without paganism or without certain practices. And I know Psychic Witch by Matt Oren is a book that I love and talk about a lot because it's really good beginner-wise, and it's not based in a religion. I feel like there aren't a lot of really good sources to beginning witchcraft that aren't influenced by Wicca or another religion. I think the Green Witch is another really good one. I haven't read that, but that's like green witchcraft. Just like a basic, like, all-encompassing book. Maybe I'll write it. But, and all-encompassing, I don't even mean like every single path. I mean like from that book you have an option to explore different paths. It's not telling you of one way. It's laying a nice foundation for you to build upon in any which direction you choose. And Wicca is very specific. I believe it's a closed religion or practice. It has specific initiation rituals, very specific like rules and gods. And I found one of my patrons, Carnanos, through exploring Wicca, but it didn't line up with my beliefs. And it took me longer to find my beliefs because I was so influenced by like the rule of 3 and what Wiccans did. I just think that some really like great beginner books that aren't based around paganism or religion would be amazing. Okay, number 3, you don't have to look a certain way to be a witch. This sounds like a stupid little thing, right? Like it sounds like, of course you don't have to look a certain way. But I spent so much time like trying to fit into the witch aesthetic that it took time away from my practice. And now, you know, you'll see me sprouting witchy earrings, wearing like a bunch of charms and protections. I don't look like a stereotypical witch. And I see a lot of things on the internet too that are like, this is what this witch looks like. This is what this witch looks like. And so I was like, I have to look that way in order to be that witch, which isn't the case at all. You don't have to wear flowery skirts to be an eclectic witch. You don't have to apron to be a kitchen witch. Like, it was just weird, and I feel like that was more when I started back in like 2015, 2016. That was like a thing that was happening on Tumblr and stuff. So I was really trying to fit into an aesthetic and not really focusing on my craft and what I wanted. You don't have to have a particular style to be a witch. That's not a thing. And that was definitely like a 2015, 2016 phenomenon. Number 4, you don't have to have a certain amount of materials to be a witch. Yes. When I started, I focused more on getting materials like incense, crystals, herbs, everything like that. I focused on that and tried to get that because I thought that I needed things to be a witch. A witch doesn't need materials. A witch just needs to practice the craft. And there's so many spells that you can do without materials. I think that materials come in handy at a certain point. It's not like if you call yourself a witch and you don't have like 3 amethyst chunks, you're not a witch. And that's part of the reason why I have so many herbs and crystals now is because I was a hoarder when I was like 15 and really focused on getting that stuff. Instead of practicing my like craft, I was like, I need mugwort. So I went and found mugwort. Mugwort's one of my favorite herbs, so I use it a lot in teas now. And I think that kind of goes along with like those books that tell you you need like this and this and this. I think as having a sacred space is really great, where you have like stuff that's special to you, but you don't need like a knife and a pentagram cloth and a bowl and a cauldron to be a witch. You can just have a nice sacred space that is full of things that are special to you and make you feel magical. They get you more in touch with your craft and the earth. 5, protection needs to be done on the whole home before anything else. This is so important because I started casting with just a circle. And I did not protect my whole house. So I would cast with a circle, but then if I did tarot readings or anything like that, it left my house open to entities coming in and out. So I consistently had like, this was before I was very like understood my empath stuff and my medium stuff like well. So I constantly had things coming in and out. And I think I had like a dark entity or a negative entity get really stuck in my house for a matter of years. I always say now, like, learn protection before anything because that's what you're going to be using the rest of your, and you can just keep adding layers of protection till your house becomes an energetic fortress. And this is important too because if you're constantly casting in one spot, I find that if you put your energy out into the universe, it can sometimes draw things in that you don't necessarily want hanging around your house. Hold on one second. All right, number 6. It is okay not to know your path right away. You don't need to rush to slap a label on yourself. You don't need to rush to fit into a category. Honestly, I just found that I was trying a bunch of things and doing a bunch of things and trying, like, researching a bunch of stuff. And then, like, 3 years later, I was like, oh, I fit into this category. I think head witches have, like, specific rituals. But, like, you don't need to run to find your path, because it's the same idea of, like, witches needing to look a certain way. Like, you don't need to practice a certain way starting off. You can explore different things and learn about different things and find what works for you. Like, you don't need to be, like, practicing for 6 months and then you're like, I'm a green witch, because it may change, and it's okay to change it, but you also don't need to feel pressure to label yourself right away. It's okay not to have a label. You can just call yourself a witch. You don't even have to call yourself a witch. Labels are really big in the community, and I think it's that kind of pressure to put, like, a label and find your path immediately is nutty and has affected more people negatively than positively. But that's just my opinion. But yeah, take your time finding what works for you. You're doing this for the rest of your life. This is a journey that you're going to be on for a very long period of time. You don't need to rush. You really don't. I know it sounds stupid, and you're probably like, well, I want to be this kind of witch right away. Okay, you can do that, but you don't have to. Take your time with things. I'm looking at a butterfly. Hello. Focus on the journey, not the destination. That's my big thing, is like, this is a journey. This is going to help you along your path in life. And if you choose to practice for the rest of your life, you have the rest of your life to figure this stuff out. It's okay not to practice every day. It is okay not to practice every day. I just thought I needed to do something every day for witchcraft. I thought I needed to cast spells every day, which in reality, I don't cast spells very often. For me, it's more of an awareness of the universe and bringing magic and looking for magic. I have grass all over me. Looking for magic in the day-to-day life and the simple things. And just being more in touch with my energy and the energy of the universe. Yeah, you don't need to practice every day, and it's also okay to take a step back from your craft if you need it. I took a step back for about a year due to personal issues, and then when I came back, I was, greeted by my deities, and I was greeted by my path, and I was able to pursue my craft and my practice and my path in a more dedicated way, because I just wasn't in the right mindset to do it for like a year. But it's okay to do that. You don't need to practice every day to be a witch. You don't need to, you don't need to go talk to trees every day. And I think this is also a thing that comes into play with, like, my chronic illness, is like, I don't always have the energy to practice every day. Some people don't have the time, and that's okay. You don't need to. People shouldn't be making you feel bad because you didn't, cast a spell for every day of the week. I think that there are ways to incorporate your practice in smaller ways that is considered witchcraft, like stirring positivity into your coffee, or like meditating, or just spending time out in nature. And I honestly think that if you're already in your craft, that's a perfectly okay thing to do. Maybe this entire thing may just be expectations I put on myself as a young witch for whatever reason. But I hope that if other people are having these misconceptions and these ideas, that this helps a little bit. It's that kind of energy of, like, you need to do this, this, and this to be a witch that sometimes excludes disabled individuals or people who are neurodivergent or can't learn a certain way. And I think that's something that the entire witch community should assess and work in dismantling together. And number 8, witchcraft does not have to be lavish or elaborate spells with mugwort and dragon's blood on the full moon, even though that's, really fun. It can be as simple as stirring your coffee clockwise and thinking positively, stirring positivity into your coffee, being more aware of your day-to-day activities and thoughts, and spending more time listening and communing with the universe to bring you closer to your higher good and self. So important. So stupid important. You don't need this kind of ties back in with my other misconception. Your practice is your practice. If what you can manage today is pulling a few tarot cards and just spending some time outside, that's okay. If what you can manage is a very elaborate ritual on the full moon, that's okay too. There isn't a wrong way to practice witchcraft unless you're taking it from closed practices. Don't do that. Like my day-to-day thing back when I lived in the city and could still burn incense is I would burn incense and light my deity's candles every day, and that would be something that I did. That's part of my ritual every day. And now that I'm living at home, I'll light my deity's candles and do tarot readings for other people every day. I will try to meditate pretty frequently. I don't do it every day, but like every couple days, and sometimes I'll do it twice in one day. I will do my studies. I will try to research a little bit about what I'm learning about that day. And sometimes that's enough. I don't need to cast really intense spells every day to call myself a witch. Neither do you. That's not what a witch is. A witch is someone who practices witchcraft. And what witchcraft is ow, I got bit, is defined by you. And don't let anyone tell you what your spirituality is or isn't, what you can or can't do, unless it's a closed practice, then listen. If someone's telling you that in order to be a witch, you need to dance naked under the full moon, and otherwise you're not a witch, that person is just gatekeeping. I don't use that word lightly. Those are my 8 or 9 things that I wish I learned before I started practicing witchcraft. I have a couple videos coming out. I'm going to be talking about, I'll probably do an altar or a grimoire tour. I'll be talking about cleansing. I have a series coming up where I'm going to try to be doing like a little intro video to each of what I consider the basics, which is meditation, grounding, manifestation, cleansing, protection, banishing, binding. I think there's like another one I'll have my friend maybe talk about cultural appropriation and colonization of witchcraft as well. And I'm going to talk about self-love and self-prioritization and how it's helped me in my practice and how my deities have helped me with that as well. And I'll also probably do like a little witchy jewelry tour because I have a lot of witchy jewelry, but so that I'm working on that series now, and hopefully that'll be out within the next couple of weeks. And until then, I kind of have these little like fun videos coming out. I'm going to do another witchy haul because I had to order more stuff. Thank you for watching the whole video. If you watch the whole video, if you want, you can leave a like, you can comment, you can subscribe, whatever you want to do, no pressure. I'm really excited to have you guys on this journey with me, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.